Welcome back. It's a tradition like no other, the NBA Summer League, and it tips off tomorrow. We'll get our first look at some of the best up-and-coming young stars in the NBA as they get ready to go head-to-head in Vegas. First overall pick, Cooper Flagg, Dylan Harper, VJ Edgecombe, Ace Bailey are all the top picks expected to see action with their teams in Vegas over the month of July. So, David, which rookie are you the most excited to watch at Summer League?
I'm going to go chalk here. I'm going to go Cooper Flagg. Excuse me for wanting to see the most exciting dude that's coming into the league. I want to see this guy be dominant. He's entering a unique situation here where he is coming into an already made team that's built for him. This is the best situation coming into the league since probably like Tim Duncan in terms of what's around him organizationally, what's around him with the stars, and with an ability to compete pretty much immediately for a number one pick. I want to see that this dude, what he can bring defensively, what can he bring being dominant offensively, and also another thing is that Jason Kidd has talked about Cooper Flagg maybe running point a little bit this year. I'm assuming that they're going to do a little bit of that Summer League. I want to see him in that point guard position, what that looks like. But also I want to see him dunk on a bunch of people. It's like, let's be serious here. This is what we want to see Cooper Flagg do.
Probably a bunch of dudes who won't be on an NBA roster next season. Tim, where are you going with this?
I mean, I love Cooper Flagg. I think he's got a chance to be a hell of a player. Excited to see what he looks like with Dallas next year for all the reasons David said. But I'm going to go with Dylan Harper. Now, I know we had in the graphic there he's not going to play in the California Classic this weekend in San Francisco, but we should see him in Las Vegas, and I really want to see how he looks in an NBA setting in the open floor. Dylan Harper, I think, has got a chance to be a big-time guard going forward. Obviously, the Spurs traded for De'Aaron Fox a few months ago. However, I think there's a real chance that we're looking at the guy who's going to be the long-term pick-and-roll partner with Victor Wembanyama in San Antonio going forward. I want to see what Dylan Harper looks like with NBA spacing in an NBA offense. He's got a chance at his size to be, now, I don't know if we want to say he's quite going to be Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who's MVP of the league, but as a big guard, lefty, you can move around with it. I mean, you're talking about James Harden, you're talking about Shai, you're talking about really some of the elite players in the league. Dylan Harper's a very special talent. Excited to see what he can do.
I don't know if we agreed on a single boom or bust earlier.
Well, you kind of mostly disagr't with me anyway.
I have to watch the tape on that and evaluate. But this is one I agree with you on because the generational label that doesn't usually add up to the player and prospect being able to meet those expectations and the hype. That's what Cooper Flagg has around him. And to your point on what Jason Kidd said, the experimenting that might happen, moving him to point guard, having a chance to see Cooper Flagg run the floor, run a couple different roles. This is what Summer League is for. Now, how much he's going to play, how many games, how many minutes, like all of that stuff is, null and void, I think. It only just matters, like getting him out there, the crowd that he's going to draw, being able to see the top pick in this draft on a floor with other NBA prospects, whether they're going to the G League, whether they're going to, be on an active NBA roster this year. I'm excited. We haven't had hype around a prospect like this since Wemby, and then before him since Zion. We'll get to that momentarily. But I want to talk bigger picture here with the Dallas Mavericks. They've done a lot since the Luka and Anthony Davis swap back in the end of January to getting Kyrie Irving extended to what they did in the draft. Where do you have them stacked up currently in the Western Conference?
Right now, they're probably a play-in team. I just don't know what the Kyrie situation is. I don't know if he's going to be back this year. I think that their actual window to compete and to make noise in the West is the year after this one. You get a healthy Kyrie back. You get another year of Cooper Flagg. You get, that team sort of working around together. I think that's the team that can make noise because built totally all the way out when you look at their roster. They have the stuff that can mess with OKC, right? They have a bunch of bigs. They have a great defense, I think. I think they should be even this year top 10 at worst defense in the league. They have that stuff. And you add Kyrie, that's the scoring that you need to be really disruptive. This year, though, I just don't see it unless you're getting a healthy Kyrie Irving, and you're not getting that this year.
All right, so play-in territory for you. Do you have them higher than like 9th or 10th?
I mean, I definitely think they should be higher than that. The Mavericks are a fascinating team, Courtney. You've got a situation where obviously Kyrie Irving's injury is going to have him out for at minimum a good chunk of the season. When will he come back is going to be one of the biggest questions of the NBA season because this is a team, remember, that made the NBA Finals the year before with Luka Doncic, and they did get back Anthony Davis in that trade. Everyone agrees, or just about everyone agrees, maybe outside of Nico Harrison, that was not a great trade, but Anthony Davis is still an All-NBA player. They have a ton of positional size on the roster. To David's point, they should be an excellent defensive team. I think they'll be a better defensive team with Kyrie Irving on the sidelines. And when they get him back, he is still one of the elite scorers in the league and will give them the offensive punch at the guard spot that they need. Now, they don't have a lot of depth behind him. We'll see if D'Angelo Russell can give them enough at that position until Kyrie gets back. I'm skeptical of that. I am curious to see about the Cooper Flagg point guard experiment. We'll see how that goes. If they play him there, they could run out there with lineups that are basically 6'9" across the board. They are just going to be gigantic at the defensive end in particular. And the other thing is Jason Kidd is losing a ton of his coaching staff. Sean Sweeney, his longtime #1 assistant, has gone to the San Antonio Spurs of Victor Wembanyama. Jared Dudley could very well leave to go to the Denver Nuggets. Alex Jensen left last year to become the head coach of the University of Utah. They did just hire Frank Vogel, who obviously has a ton of experience, to be with them. But there's a lot of questions in Dallas. But if the talent can coalesce on the court, they are right there with Houston and with Denver as the biggest contenders behind the Oklahoma City Thunder.
All right, so I mentioned this earlier, the hype around some of these #1 overall picks that we've seen go to Vegas, perform at Summer League. So there's Cooper Flagg right now. There was Zion Williamson in 2019. Of course, Victor Wembanyama a couple years ago. David, who had the biggest hype of all those three?
So these two are pretty neck and neck, right? I mean, everybody wanted to see Zion dunk on people, like I mentioned, Cooper Flagg. Everybody wanted to see what Wemby did. Adding the Britney Spears and the TMZ to it makes Wemby just even more. Like, there was Britney Spears stuff involved. When she's involved with it, Wemby's #1.
Yep.
Victor Wembanyama is a prospect unlike anyone we've ever seen. It was a huge story when he came over here and played. The Zion Williamson debut was memorable. It was the night of the Kawhi Leonard trade to the Clippers. Yeah. It was also the night of an earthquake in Vegas. But Victor Wembanyama has to be him. Just unlike anybody we've ever seen play basketball before.
Yeah, I remember that earthquake. Watching it, there were like all these celebrities, rappers, artists in attendance out in Vegas at the Thomas and Mack Center, and then all of a sudden, there's a stoppage in the middle of a game indoors for weather delay, which happened to be the earthquake. So that was certainly the most memorable. A lot of hype around him going into the season that year. I remember like sitting out for a while and then going into February before the COVID shutdown happened. We'll see if Cooper Flagg's able to live up to that same hype. Certainly has that generational talent label on him that is been on all of those guys. All right, Cowboys, lack of success in the playoffs recently has been pretty well documented, but have they lost their mantle as America's team? No one here seeing eye to eye on this one. Plus, Kevin Durant may have the Rockets ready for takeoff, but was he the biggest acquisition of the NBA offseason? Someone here has a take that you do not want to miss. More First Take coming up next.
Xin chào tất cả các bạn đã quay trở lại kênh YouTube của mình. Mình thì làm người làm video sáng tạo nội dung trên nền tảng YouTube nha các bạn. Mình sẽ sáng tạo những video hướng dẫn cắt dán cho các bạn này. Đây là những sản phẩm của mình đã cắt dán rất nhiều những sản phẩm của mình. Đây này. Mình sẽ giới thiệu cho các bạn cách mình tạo ra video, những video viral của mình nha. Để tạo được những video đẹp hay chất lượng cho các bạn xem thì mình sẽ cần những dụng cụ như sau. Mình sẽ giới thiệu cho các bạn biết nha. Đây là giấy câu màu các bạn này, rất nhiều màu sắc này. Đấy. Nó có giấy màu vàng này, giấy màu xanh này, đây là màu xanh da trời như các bạn này. Còn đây là giấy màu đỏ.